The Furniture of the Sanctuary, Part 2, compiled by Shirley Jean Street, read by Wayne T. Street. The Shekinah, manifest to Moses in the burning bush, glowed in the tabernacle. The same acacia wood of the bush formed all the wooden parts of the sanctuary and its furnishings. Just as the acacia bush was draped in splendor, so the tabernacle radiated with the glory of God. God's glory had blazed on Sinai. The cover of the ark was called the mercy seat and was of pure gold. On either end of the mercy seat were cherubim of beaten gold. Their wings were stretched out to cover the ark, while their faces looked reverently toward the law of God treasured inside. There is great consolation in the fact that the Lord himself covered the broken law with a mercy seat. And then he, our merciful God, took his position upon that seat, so that every sinner who comes confessing his sins may receive mercy and pardon. That mercy seat, with the cloud of glory, the visible representation of God's presence, and its covering cherubim, is a shadow of God's heavenly throne. He assures his faithful ones his name is merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth. Exodus 34, verses 5 to 7. Within the ark was the Lord's own copy of that holy law given to mankind in the beginning. Where no law is, there is no transgression. Romans 4, verse 15. Sin is not imputed when there is no law. Romans 5, verse 13. Our loving Lord could never have driven our first parents from the Garden of Eden on account of their sin if they had been ignorant of his holy law. Genesis 3, verses 22 to 24. God never revealed in his holy book just how he proclaimed his law to our first parents. But after their long servitude in Egypt, it was necessary again to make his law known to his people. God had this awe-inspiring event recorded so that the generations to come might know that he came from heaven and spoke the 10 Commandments with an audible voice in the hearing of all Israel. Deuteronomy 4, verses 10 to 13. After God had declared the 10 Commandments from the top of Mount Sinai, he wrote them on 2 tables of stone and gave them to Moses with the instruction, "Thou shalt put them in the ark." Exodus 31, verse 18. The sacred ark was placed in the most holy apartment of the sanctuary, where no mortal eyes, except those of the anointed high priest, were allowed to look at it. The high priest saw the ark only one day a year, when he went inside the most holy apartment and sprinkled the blood of the Lord's goat before and upon the mercy seat to atone for the broken law God secured within the ark. The wages of sin is death, Romans 6, verse 23. And the broken law demands the death of every sinner. Jesus, the Son of God, paid our ransom.